Hey guys, it's Coach Chris, and thank you for joining me on this coaching case study then, where I'm going to walk you through how I took my client, Louise, through an epic body transformation. I'm going to detail step by step the training and nutritional systems that I used to achieve these truly epic body transformations. Because the thing is, guys, you're all capable of way better results. You just don't know it yet. You're lacking the structure, you're lacking the support, and you're lacking the sort of guidance behind how to achieve higher level results. Not only that, you've been on loads of different diets, you've been to lots of different gyms, you've read so many different articles. It's all sort of convoluted, it's all confusing, and they all contradict each other when you're reading these articles and these magazines and these Instagram influencers, they're all going around in circles with different information. So I'm going to cut through all of that and share with you really how high level body transformation results are brought about through my regular coaching clients. These guys are just like you. They're struggling to lose weight and body fat, and they end up achieving epic results. So let's dive into it. So meet Louise. So Louise came to me stuck. She'd had personal trainers, she'd been to the gyms, she'd tried diets, but just wasn't successful in losing weight and keeping it off. She felt tired all the time. She couldn't shift belly fat. She also had 3 kids. She worked shift patterns. So it wasn't as though life wasn't busy either. And that's the case for you guys as well. You're going to have lots on your plate. You're going to be struggling to actually find the right information to see a change and get into a routine and feel motivated by seeing results. So you end up going around in circles. And as we sort of know how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our bodies, that then starts to affect other areas of our life, like our body confidence, how we are at work, how we are at home, what our moods are like, and more. So her starting weight on this photo, she was 75 kilos, body fat levels in and around that 30 to 35% mark, and naturally her goals were to lose weight, tone up, and feel better. But this is also Louise. So 62 kilos, body fat levels 15 to 20%, in the absolute shape of her life, feeling confident, happy, and finally in control of her eating habits, but also no longer confused about nutrition, and then also in a routine of actually training without that training just being there to lose weight and body fat. Really understanding this process much better now, learning that ultimately it's less about diets and it's less about trying to burn calories and it's more about quality. So I'm going to share with you this exact process then. So how did I help Louise achieve this body transformation? And what was my process behind it? So naturally, we've got to start somewhere. And the first thing that I do with all clients is I take a client audit. You complete a series of questionnaires for me. I gather all the data that I need on where you're currently at in terms of your lifestyle, what's happening in your life, your understanding of nutrition and more. And we also get your starting photos. So by looking at those starting photos, we can estimate body fat levels, where you're holding on to body fat, what your own sort of biochemistry is looking like. We take a 3-day food diary or more, sometimes it take a week, and we find out where your calories are and what your nutritional understanding is. So Louisa's starting calories were 2,060. Over the course of a 15-week diet phase, we actually dropped them down from 2,060 to 1,450 in a step-loaded way. So what that means is we're constantly opening the calorie deficit. So we're introducing a certain level of deficit, which is what you can see here. I operated a 20, then 25, then 30% deficit, which took us down in calories gradually. One of the biggest challenges that you've got, guys, is a lot of these diet plans that you're following, they're making you crash diet, and they're just cutting a load of calories away from the front end, which is making it harder for you to stick to that diet as you get more tired, as you get hungrier, and ultimately as you feel more lethargic and you feel worse in a gym, because we're taking away vital nutrition that we need to actually fuel your body transformation. So half of these diets, these crash diets, are actually just castrating your long-term success, and obviously that's one thing that we don't want. Her training, we operated on a 4 times per week training program using an upper-lower split, and I introduced Louise to 3 different styles of training. We did a strength endurance program to begin with, to get some conditioning into Louise. So we did 3 sets of 12 to 15. We then moved to a skewed pyramid, and then we moved to a descending rep system with some cardio to complete post-workout, which is typically going to be some intervals or some steady state. Over that 16-week period, we brought those calories down, and you might be thinking that when you reach a certain level of weight loss, a certain level of calorie intake, that's where you've got to stay forever. That's just not the case at all. The body actually goes through something called metabolic adaptation when we're dieting. When we're losing weight and body fat, we have a whole host of changes that the body starts to make to prevent us from losing weight and body fat again. So one of the things that I did with Louise is at week 16, we actually ran a diet break. And this is diet break number 1. This is where we came out of the calorie deficit. And for 1 week, we actually went back to maintenance calories based off Louise's new weight. Louise's diet break calories came out to 1,800 calories, and you can see a calorie breakdown there. So 112 grams of protein, 60 grams of fat, 202 grams of carbs. So we spent a whole week not dieting so that we could resume the diet again and actually expect it to work. So this took us to an update photo of here. So her updated stats, she'd lost 5 kilos in body weight. She's looking leaner. She's feeling much better, but she still wants to make progress. Now, this is a massive change from where she was at the start, but this isn't something that I would say is her ultimate body transformation, and she wanted to obviously feel much better than this too. And buoyed by the fact that she actually lost weight without having to crash diet, and buoyed by the fact that she's actually feeling better in the gym, feeling more motivated, this now gave us an opportunity to actually set a new diet phase and set a new phase of training. So we started to build on results, which is obviously fantastic to see. And that's the thing, guys. Again, when you achieve a certain level of result, your initial weight loss shouldn't be the be-all and end-all. There's more progress that you can make in lots of different ways. So the next phase we created after her diet break. Now, this is where we're coming into weeks 16 to 28. We've got a new training split now. We've got an upper-lower split again, but with a change. So the lower day now becomes a squat day. So lower 1 is a squat-focused day. Lower 2 is a deadlift-focused day. And what we can see here is in our weight training, I implemented different systems. So this is a step up from what we did in phase 1. We now implemented something called a pyramid. So we did 12, 10, 8, 10, 12. So for example, on Louise's squat day, she would have picked a squat machine, and then she would have done 5 sets of 12, 10, 8, and then 10, and then 12, with accessory lifts built around it. We then moved into something called a stage set, where we went 10, 10, 8, 8, 6, before then finishing on a skewed pyramid. All these different systems, guys, are implementing different stimuli. So it's challenging the body in a different way. And that's the one thing about our training programs. We need to build on each single training program so that we can actually predict and expect change and adaptation. This is how we get results, by having a proper idea of how really exercise programming works. And I know that this is night and day difference to what you're seeing in a gym. So most of the time you're simply turning up and seeing what's available or seeing what's easiest and operating at that level. Your cardio again for Louise here was post-workout. The diet calories were once again step loaded. Her new TDE was 1,800. We worked down from 1,800 to now 1,545. So she didn't have to operate as big of a calorie deficit. We only went to a 25% calorie deficit over the next 12-week cycle, which brought us to here. So as you can see, massive change in Louise's body shape once again. Her updated stats, she actually lost another 5 kilos. So we went from 70 kilos down to 65. It's the leanest that she'd ever looked in her adult life, and also in her updated photos, and a massive shift in her belly fat, as we can see. A little typo there on incredible, it's absolutely fine. So massive shift in the belly fat from her starting position, a dream result. So this is something that Louise would have tried years to achieve, but never thought it would be possible. And now then set Louise a photo shoot challenge. I said to Louise, I think that we can capture an epic body transformation with a professional photo shoot. Are you up for it? Yeah, I'm up for it. And then off we go. We then implement another diet break. So another week, we come out of our dieting phase. Her new TDE is slightly higher now because she's actually leaner. The leaner you are, the more muscle tissue that you carry in, the less body fat that you've got, you're actually more metabolically active. And you can deal, generally speaking, with calories in a much better way than what you can when you're less metabolically active, you have less muscle tissue. So we did a diet break again. We went to 1870, protein 117, fats 73, and then carbohydrates 187. So another week out of the diet and back to maintenance calories. This gives us that metabolic and that psychological reset. It's not enough to recover from the diet yet because it's only a week, so it's not like a reverse diet where we're then coming out for an extended period of time. We're literally spending a week away from those dieting calories before we then jump back into them. And this allows us to then hit those new dieting calories, feeling fresher, feeling more motivated, feeling ready to kick on, and feeling like we've had a break. One of your biggest challenges, guys, is that your diet phases just aren't long enough because it's a crash diet and not a structured diet. So you feel like you need to get out of those diet calories too quick before you've lost as much body fat as you needed to, simply because whether it's Herbalife, Light Life, whether it's some sort of crash diet, beyond that, you're just taking the calories way too low and you can't stick to them. That's not what happens in this case. We're structurally coming out of a calorie deficit, even though the way that Louise is dieting and other clients are dieting isn't in a crash diet way. We still want to actually preserve muscle tissue. We want to kickstart the system so that we actually expect and see results once again. So the final diet phase we come into, weeks 29 to 38, we've got a new training split. I operated something called a volume steel split with Louise. We wanted to get in shape for the photo shoot. She's already in shape. We just wanted to pull certain areas. So we wanted more glutes and we wanted more abs. So that's what we focused on in the training program. So as we can see here, she's got 4 days per week again. She had upper 1 plus glutes, lower 1 squat day, upper 2 plus legs, lower 2 deadlift day. So what this means is we've tagged in more glutes, we've tagged in also more abs into a normal program and put upper body sort of muscle groups into maintenance mode. So just enough volume to keep what we've built. So weeks 29 to 32, we went for 4 sets 10 to 12. Weeks 33 to 35, we did a descending rep system. And weeks 36 to 38, the first time that Louise had touched on this, we did a functional hypertrophy method 5x5. Cardio was post-workout once again. The diet calories were once again step loaded, so we dropped down from 1870 to 1490 over the next 12-week cycle to actually take Louise's body shape to a place that it's never been. From that point, we then set a reverse diet in order to actually keep the results that we achieved. So right at the back end of this photo shoot transformation, we then set an 8 to 12 week reverse diet phase where we went from 1490 back up to Louise's new TDE. So in this case, let's say it's 1870. So over the course of the next 12 weeks or so, we actually built those calories back up. So slowly and surely, so that we didn't rebound and didn't regain all that weight and body fat loss. So why are you not seeing results then? So your biggest challenge is you'll start a diet, you'll lose weight and you'll start to feel better. You'll end the diet, you're unsure how to maintain the results without sticking to these low calorie things that you're following. And then ultimately you regain weight and body fat. There's almost always a rebound through normal sort of traditional diet modes because nobody teaches you any of this stuff. You're literally told you need to eat a certain amount of calories or told that this food's good, this food's bad, whatever it might be. And you take things out of your diet without any sort of rhyme or reason, and you get to a point where just literally sticking to that thing becomes the hardest thing in the world. You're fed up of it. You want to go back to eating with your family, enjoying yourself and more, because the whole setup, the whole approach in the first place was completely incorrect and completely backwards. So you feel unhappy and then your clothes feel tight again, and then ultimately you have to start the diet phase once more. And this becomes a cycle that just repeats over and over and over and over. So why is that? Well, the thing is, the diets that you follow constantly focus on the wrong things. You've got demonization of particular foods, so you all know the thing, like you're not allowed to eat carbs, or you can't have a little bit of alcohol, you're not allowed to eat treat foods. This then promotes a restrict binge pattern. You take those calories way too low, you feel really hungry, really tired, you then binge on all the things that you were not allowed to have. You've then got crash diets using shitty products like Herbalife, like Light Life. Like even just using calories when you're seeing things like 800 calories a day, and you're seeing things like 5-2, where it's 5 days where you go super low calorie and then 2 days normal eating. All these diet things are just confusing you more about dieting in itself and how it works. It's confusing you more about nutrition. So we have this good or bad food idea. We have no real understanding of what proteins, fats, and carbohydrates do in the body. And we have a bigger misunderstanding when it comes to calories. and understanding what we need and understanding how to change those. But also the diets that you're following, typically, they're just way too short in duration to produce epic results in a structured and sustainable way, which is why you can't stick to them for anything longer than 6 to 8 weeks, and why you end up just rebounding and regaining all the weight and body fat lost, which obviously, again, makes you feel worse, and you have to start that process all over again. And when we think about it, it's the same when it comes to your workouts. So why does your fat loss training not work? You're focusing on just burning calories. There's no real quality work. So you're doing things like just circuits and just high rep stuff, low weight stuff. You're scared to build muscle tissue. There's no implementation of strength programs that change over time. There's no progressive overload. There's no consistency in your training either, because you know full well that you might be changing up your program every single time you go to the gym and you're not really sure what you're meant to be doing. So it's easier to miss going to the gym when you've had a busy day. You're not training hard enough to change your body. But not just that, you're getting no support from gyms or coaches on how to train properly. You get your induction and you're left to it. And then it becomes easier just to do cardio or classes. You fall into this routine of just doing the same thing and not getting results. When the reality is that your body actually needs to be challenged in order to adapt and change. And like you've seen within Louise's programming, I've used a variety of stimuli to get her body to change. I've actually used 3 different training splits with a variety of different programs. And we're working all the way through to get different responses from the body, whether we're looking for a metabolic effect, whether we're looking for a hypertrophy effect, whether we want to get stronger and get a neural effect. We're applying stimuli and correct programming to Louise in order to get a body to change. And when we've got this in place, we've now got progress. So this is how we're going to expect to see epic results, like phenomenal results in such short time frames. If you think about it, guys, you've spent years trying to get into shape. I've just shared with you over a period of 30 odd weeks how Louise went from being overweight, borderline sort of obese in terms of BMI and things like that, overweight, really unhappy, really unsure, completely stuck, to being in the absolute shape of a life. So having this structured programming in place is literally the key, and it's needed right now if you want to take that step up and you want to transform in this same way. It doesn't matter to me where you're starting from, what your body weight levels are, what your understanding of nutrition and training is. If Louise has done it, it's proof that anybody can do it. And like you've seen, guys, you've seen lots of different transformations from me. This isn't a new transformation in terms of I've only got one and I'm just sharing one story. There are hundreds that I could break down in this same way behind this high level result, and there are thousands more that I've helped lose weight, drop body fat, tone up. Just literally could take you through their processes. So the proof is that Louise is just a normal person, just like you guys. If she did it, you can do it. And honestly, she'll openly tell you that she couldn't have done it without having this sort of knowledge and ability behind her. So you need that in place in order to be truly successful in achieving these standard of results. You can now do the same. So you're going to be able to jump back to your emails. You're going to see options available for you to actually start your own body transformation. I'm super passionate about helping my clients and helping you guys achieve the best results. So I want to share with you, whichever level you come in at, a way for you to get started and a way for you to actually start working towards these high level results too.